My brothers and my sisters, today we talk about a very unique man. A man who is from the students of the madrasa and the school of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. A man that was described that when he was walking upon the earth, his heart was connected to the skies, reflecting regarding his Lord. This man, it's not easy to talk about him because of his story. A hero from the heroes of Islam. A man that was born in Jahiliyyah, a non-Muslim. And he was raised in Mecca. And he was a youth, and a very handsome youth. Beautiful hair. And he came from the most noble and luxury families. A child that was well looked after, and he was pampered. An individual that was described, his clothes were from the best clothes that you have ever seen. The class of his clothes. Even his atar. تأطر بأجود العطور حتى أهل مكة يعرفونه من ريح طيبه. That's how he was described. That his atar that he used was so amazing. The smell was so amazing that the people of Mecca would know that this individual walked. He was here. Meaning he was there before and then he left. Because the fragrance of his expensive atar that he had. This individual that used to hadrami, yalbas hadrami min al-ni'al. His shoes were tailor-made from Hadr al-Maut, from Yemen. So who is this man? Who is this shab that has been explained with such descriptions? هو Mus'ab ibn Umayr al-Qurashi al-Badri من السابقين أول سفير للإسلام. Indeed, it is Mus'ab ibn Umayr. Mus'ab ibn Umayr al-Qurashi, from the first and foremost ones to embrace Islam. And he was the first ambassador for Islam. The first one that the messenger sent out to propagate the Islam. This individual, لا ينقصه شيء من لذائذ الدنيا إلا يفتقد ما يوصله إلى ربه وما يمتله قلبا فارغا بإيمان الخالق. This man came short of nothing. He had everything that he desired, except the only thing that was missing was that which would connect him to his Lord. The only thing that was missing, that empty heart that he had, the iman of his Creator to fill it. This is the only thing that he missed. And due to who he was after Allah was because of his parents. His mother, Khunas bint Malik, كانت ملية وكثرة المال. She was a woman that was extremely wealthy. She was a trader that used to trade from Yemen and Sham, Syria and those regions. Extremely rich. وكانت تحبه حبا جما. And she loved her son with a passion. And she gave him everything that he wanted. Reflect on these descriptions of him and the relationship that he had with his mother. But there was something missing. فَلَمَّا سَمِعَ النِّدَاءَ الْوَحْدَانِيَّةِ. And when he heard the call, Mus'ab ibn Umayr, when he heard that call, لما سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقرأ القرآن فدخل في قلبه شيء فصدقه وأسلم. When he heard the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم reciting the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. Then the Iman entered his heart. Iman entered his heart and he embraced. فكان يأتي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم سرا مخافة على ضرر قومه. And then he would visit the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم secretly في دار الأرقم ibn Abi Arqam, in the house of Arqam, secretly, to listen to the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. حتى بصره عثمان بن طلحة وهو يصلي فأخبر أمه. Up until this individual, Uthman ibn Talha, he saw Mus'ab ibn Umayr praying. And then he went straight and he informed his mother. He informed his mother that he prays like a Muslim. هنا بدأت مرحلة جديدة سيئة من العذاب والنكال والابتلاء. This is when things changed. Another level of punishment, of hardship and trials. أمه وقومه غضبوا عليه غضبا شديدا. His mother and his people, they became extremely angered. فحبسوه وضربوه. They imprisoned him within his own home. And they beat him. وأخذوا منه ثيابه ووقفوه عن الطعام والشراب وأخذ منه كل نعيم كان فيه. They beat him. They took his expensive clothes from him. They even stopped him from having food. حتى غير لونه وضعف جسمه, up until his color changed and he lost weight and become very weakened. And he didn't stop there. He also loved his mother, and his mother knew this. So as a punishment, حلفت أن لا تأكل ولا تشرب ولا تستذل بذل حتى هو يرجع عن دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. She swore that she will not eat, she will not drink, up until, and she will not take shade. She would go out in the extreme heat, and some narrations mention she would even faint, in order for him to leave the deen of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. ولكن ثبت, but he remained firm. A man that made hijrah to Habasha twice and to Medina. On an occasion he returned. فكان مشتاقا إلى حبيبه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He missed his beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So when he returned, he went straight to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam to visit him. That is the first place. And then his mother found out. This whole story is between a mother and a son fighting for love and religion. And she did everything to turn him away. And she even said to him, يا عاق أتقدم بلدا أنا فيه ولا تبدأ بي. She said, oh, you disrespectful one. You return to a city that your mother is in, and you don't start by visiting me first. فقال ما كنت لأبدأ لأحد قبل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, I will never begin with anybody except for the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then he tried to call her to Islam. فقال يا أما إني لك ناصح شفيق. Oh my mother, I am a sincere advisor to you, someone who's caring and loving for you. فاشهدي أنه لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. Bear witness, embrace Islam. There is no deity worthy of worship except for Allah alone, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the final messenger. And listen to what she said. لا أدخل في دينك. I will never enter into your religion. الدين يزرع برأيي ويضعف عقلي. I will never enter a religion that disparages my views and weakens my intellect. ولكن أنا أدعوك إلى الدين وما أنت عليه. And I call you to my religion. وأنا أقيم على ديني. And I will remain on my deen. فهي ثبتت على كفرها وهو ثبت على إسلامه. And she remained firm upon her disbelief, and he remained firm upon his religion. فانقلب طرفه ونعيمه ورفاهيته إلى فقر وبؤس وتعب ونصب ولكنه لم يبالي. في كل شيء في سبيل الله يهون. فثبت مصعب. And then his life changed. From luxury, from bliss, from comfort to extreme poverty, difficulty, and fatigue. But he did not care. Because when you do something for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, then the affair is easy. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us firm, just as those great men were firm. Mus'ab ibn Umayr was sent by the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam to go to Medina and to teach the people Quran and to teach them their religion, teach them Islam. And he was muwaffaq. He was the individual that received the title Mus'ab al-Khair, the good one, the one that brings about khair, wal-muqri. And he was the first one to receive that title because his qira'atul Quran and his voice was extremely beautiful. Recited the Quran very beautifully. كان داعيا صادقا مخلصا. He was a caller to Allah, a truthful one and a sincere one. Dalil, the proof of that is ما هو إلا آم واحد حتى تسلم المدينة كلها إلا قليلا. It was only a year that went by, and the majority of Medina they embraced, except for a few. Except for a few. ومما أسلم على يدي وهذا استوقفني كثيرا. And the ones that he embraced upon his hand, and this makes me stop and reflect. La ilaha illallah. Look at the barakah of his dawah. Look at the caliber of who embraced. هل تعرفون سعد ibn معاذ وأسيد ibn حذير? Do you know these individuals? Sa'd ibn Mu'adh and Usaid. Do you know who these are? Then lend me your ear. What the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about them. Sa'd الذي اهتز عرش الرحمن له لموته. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, when he died, the throne of Allah Azza wa Jal shook. You reflect yourself. The throne of Ar-Rahman shook because the death of this companion. And as for Usaid, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, تلك الملائكة كانت تستمع لك. That the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam informed him that when he recites Quran, the angels, they descend and they listen to you. They listen to you reciting the Quran. These are the people that embraced from the hands of Mus'ab ibn Umayr. من ذلك ما زال أفقر الناس. With all these great virtues, he remained to be from the most poorest of people. Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, نظر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى المصعب وإليه إيهاب القبش. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam cried, baka, when he looked at Mus'ab ibn Umayr, because he only had with him some skin, a hide with some fur. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam looked at him and said, انظروا إلى هذا الرجل الذي نور الله قلبه. Look at this man that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put nur into his heart. لَقَدْ رَأَيْتُ بَيْنَ أَبَوَيْ يَقْذُوَانِهِ بِأَطْيَبِ الطَّعَامِ وَالشَّرَابِ فَدَعَاهُ حُبَّ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ إِلَى مَا تَرَوْنَ. He said, verily I did see this man between his parents, and they fed him and they gave him drink and water from the best of water and best of drink, the best of clothes. And then the love of Allah called him. The love of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him. And the nur came in his heart. And now, this is his state now. As you see him now, the day of the battle of Uhud, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam دفع اللواء إلى مصعب كما كان معه يوم البدر وهو أشبه الصحابة للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. On the day of the battle of Uhud, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave him the flag, to hold the flag, to show the flag of the Muslims, as he did in the battle of Badr. And the individual by the name of Ibn Qami'a al-Laythi, who was with the kuffar in the battle, ضرب يد اليمنى فقطعها. He struck his right hand and chopped his right hand off, and the flag it dropped. فأخذ اللواء بيد اليسرى فضربها وقطعها. And then he took the flag with his left hand, holding the flag of Islam. And then he was struck with his left hand as well, and his hand was cut, and then the flag, it dropped. Do you think that was just that he stopped there to put up the flag of Islam? The narrator, he mentions فَهَانَ عَلَى اللِّوَاءِ وَضَمَّهُ بِعَضُدَيْ إِلَى صَدْرِهِ. Then he took, with no hands, leaned over and took the flag and put it between his armpits and his chest to hold the flag up. ثُمَّ ضَرَبَ الثَّالِثَ. Then he was struck a third time with the spear. فَسَقَطَ اللِّوَاء. And then the flag dropped, and then Mus'ab died. But I say to you, my brothers, al-liwa al-Islam baqi. Verily the flag of Islam remains. After the sacrifice, what these noble men they did, the flag of Islam will always remain. Wallahu mutimmu nurihi walau kariha al-kafirun. Allah Azza wa Jal will continue his light, even though the disbelievers, they hate it. They hate it. And after the death of so many companions on that day, فَوَقَى النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ عِنْدَ الشُّهَدَاءِ. He stood by the martyrs on that day. وَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. And he looked towards them, and then he recited the verse, مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا آهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood over them and said that verily there are from men from amongst the believers, they were truthful with their covenant with Allah. They were truthful. And some of them have met, meaning that they have been martyred. And others, they are waiting. And they did not change. They did not change. They remained firm, and they did not change. And I'll finish off with a tremendous hadith regarding, to explain the state of Mus'ab ibn Umayr, where he was. And we should reflect. It's not a fairy tale. This is something that has occurred. So we can talk about Islam. We can practice Islam because of these heroes. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, utiya bit-ta'amin wa kana sa'iman. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, he was presented food and he was fasting. And look where his mindset was. Look how he reflected. He said, قُتِلَ مُصْعَبْ ibn Umayr وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ مِنِّي. Mus'ab ibn Umayr was martyred, and he is better than me. فَقُفِّنَ بِبُرْدَةٍ. That he was shrouded with a burda. A burda, a patched cloth. And he said, if we covered his head, you could see his feet. And if we covered his feet, you could see his head. He did not even have a shroud to cover him. انظر بدايته عجيبة ونهايته أعجب. His beginning was something remarkable, and his ending was far greater. Nothing to cover him. And look how Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, he thought, وَقُتِلَ حَمْزَ وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ مِنِّي. Hamza likewise was killed, and he was better than me. ثُمَّ بُسِتَ لَنَا مِنَ الدُّنْيَا مَا بُسِتْ. Then verily, Allah then opened the world for us and gave us the riches. وَقَدْ خَشِينَا أَن تَكُونَ حَسَنَاتُنَا مُؤَجَّلَةً. And we fear that the good that we are doing, we are receiving here in this world. He feared that it would not be in the akhirah. فَتَرَكَ الطَّعَامَ وَيَبْكِي. And he left the food and he was crying. This is how the Sahaba were. We should learn about them. The sacrifices which they did for Islam, to preserve Islam, and how we throw it away so easy. How we just neglect it so easy. And they gave their blood. They fought to bring Islam to us. And yet, we are so neglectful of our deen today. And how weak we are. And then we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, why are we in this state? I finish with the statement of Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala an. قال من أراد الدنيا أضر بالآخرة. He said, verily the one that intends this dunya and wants this dunya, he will be harmed in the hereafter. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ أَضَّرَ بِالدُّنْيَا. And the one that searches the hereafter, then you will be harmed in this life. Harm will reach you. And then he said, يَا قَوْمِ فَأَضَرُّوا بِالْفَانِ لِلْبَاقِي. So, O people, be harmed in that which will perish in order to receive that which is everlasting.